Good morning, everyone. We are so thrilled that you guys are joining us for this session of Working Moms, How We Show Up and Show Out. Leah and I are thrilled to be here, and we're going to get started.
So today you'll be hearing from 4 mom entrepreneurs who share their life experiences and give great advice along the way. Please stay afterwards for Q&A with a few of the ladies from our panel. But without further ado, please enjoy Working Moms, How We Show Up and Show Out.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Katie Hendricks, the Chief of Staff at CO.LAB here in Chattanooga, and the mama to a wonderful and exhausting 2.5-year-old River.
And I'm Leah Kimbrough. I am the Events and Outreach Manager for the Enterprise Center, and I am the mother of a gorgeous little daughter named Zendaya, who's just turned 18 months.
I heard a quote once that being a working mom is like being everywhere and nowhere at once. The pull of two worlds and the responsibility of both is pretty overwhelming. Working full-time at home plus a toddler at home that can only do the basic things without your assistance is not possible. So even saying that out loud, I feel like I should caveat it and say, I can do it. But it's those conversations with other moms that has led us to this day. We wanted to share an opportunity with these other women to share their stories so you can hear what it's like that other women are doing this, and that you also know that you're valuable, you're capable, and you're not struggling alone. Your success in this challenge matters. So thank you for joining us as we hear from these women and how they've shown up and shown out.
So when we say showing up and showing out, what exactly does that mean? Well, when you show up, you step into any situation and you are confidently and boldly present. And when you show out, you captivate those around you and you leave a powerful impression and you leave them wanting more. So these women do just that, and that's why we invited them today on our panel. The work these ladies do in the community, it is captivating. And I'm pretty sure after you hear their stories and a little bit of their life experiences, you're going to want to know a little bit more about them too. So we're going to start doing just that. And we'll start with Miss Brianna Garza. We're going to get your name, even though I just said it. And if you own a business or you own an organization, or if you do a hybrid of both, how many kids you have, and either tell us about your morning getting ready today with your little one, or tell us a funny story of something that happened with your child during a Zoom call.
Oh, goodness. Let's see if I can catch all that.
I'll help you out.
Well, I'm Brianna Garza. I am the owner and co-founder of Chat Taste Food Tours. I also own an Airbnb company, and I teach the intro to Airbnb with the Chattery here in Chattanooga. Good night. Funny story with my 8-year-old, Constance, who will be watching this. So I'm going to tailor this because I'm going to hear about it later. Yes. Yeah. So funny story this morning with Constance. We checked the weather together, mind you, and it's 54 degrees. And sister comes downstairs with biker shorts and Doc Martens. All right? And we have developed this relationship where we kind of communicate without speaking. Mm-hmm. So I looked at the shorts and I squinted a little bit, and she knew. So she went upstairs, she changed her clothes, and what I appreciate now with having a third grader, I can't believe I have a third grader at CSAS now, is the independence. You know, we have this relationship where we understand each other on an intimate level where we don't even have to talk, and we know how each other are feeling. We know what boundaries we need to set. But yeah, between the biker shorts and trying to manage like her schedule and mine, like every morning is crazy in our house.
Love it.
Last night's dishes are still in the sink. It's a wreck, but we're pleased. We're happy. We're healthy, and that's all we can ask for.
I love it. I love it.
And also, my name is Gisela Balina, and I'm the co-owner of the local juicery and kitchen, the local Paletas, Squeaky Clean, and I also work at Bluegrass in Blue Shiloh, Tennessee. I'm a project manager there.
Yeah.
And some of you know, I have a 4.5-year-old daughter and a 1.5-year-old daughter, Ariana and Valentina. And to share something fun and I guess really sweet, earlier today, so my youngest, my 1.5-year-old, had her well checkup today, and I had a really early meeting for work, so I couldn't make it. So my husband, he's a great husband. He said, "Don't worry, I'll take her to the doctor." And of course, she's getting shots. You guys know, like the 18-month-old checkup is not a fun one.
Right.
Horrible. And my 4.5-year-old daughter, she was like, "Mommy, don't worry. I'm also gonna go with Daddy and Sister. I want to hold her hand, and then we can just both go to school together." That just broke my heart. So that's one of the little things that, it's like, well, it's rough because, when you also do other stuff and you have work and you have a family, you have to balance it, and sometimes you're going to miss some things, and just got to learn how to deal with that. But, at moments like that, that also makes you feel grateful for your family. And, like you said, we're healthy, we're together. There are little things that happen. It's not perfect in the mornings, it's chaotic, but, we're making it each other, like with each other,
Yeah.
it's another day. So, yeah.
I'm Sharon Green. I am the owner and founder of Professional Cleaning Solutions. I also work in operation services at CBL. So she's saying I am also 6 classes away from mastering it.
Oh,
I have 3 kids. My oldest 2 are my bonus babies. They were wedding gifts. So my children are 19, 16, and 6. But they are my babies. So there's no distinction to them. And I guess the funny story was the pep talk my 6-year-old gave me on the way over here. So I dropped him off. He's not in school. We found a retired teacher that he has a small little co-op with 3 or 4 friends. And they learn perseverance, initiative, and another word last week. I can't remember that word, and I should remember because he's been using it all weekend. So he said, "Well, Mommy, today when you go on your panel, make sure you use initiative." And I'm like, what does it mean? Right. And he actually knows what it means, and he knows how to say it back. And another funny thing is that he waits for you to ask him how his day was, and his answer always is average. It was just average. So that's, and as well as all you guys say, I got laundry piled up.
Oh, yeah.
Something. The dishes were
Towels.
done last night because when my 6-year-old got to work, he surprised me and he washed the dishes. But everybody's living, everybody's thriving, and I can wear the clothes out the laundry basket. They'll be okay.
Yeah. My name's Teal Tebow, and I'm the director of Glass House Collective. We're a nonprofit working in East Chattanooga. I would say that's my first baby. That was founded back in 2012. And then I had another baby, a real baby, and she's 2.5. And her name is Zoe. And she is a hot mess. She will tell you that.
Yeah.
And this morning, I have lots of Zoom stories. I think that the Zoom stories maybe are better for some of my staff to share. Bless them. But something sweet that happened this morning was that I had a workshop for work all day on Saturday, and then Sunday was also very busy catching up on the Saturday things. And so this morning, she's now out of her crib. She's been for a while, so she's in her own bed. And when she wakes up sometimes before I do. Cheers. And so she walks into my room and says, "Mommy, are you still tired?" And I said, "I am." And she said, "Okay, I'll be right back." She went to the kitchen, got her cup of some dried mango and Cheerios, came back in the bed, said, "I'll hang out with you, Mommy, while you keep rest." So she is a very independent but strong-willed child. I appreciate all the help that she kind of does on her own, but then sometimes it's difficult when it's like, okay, it's time to leave the playground, and she's like, "No, I own this playground." So it's a hard balance, but like mornings like this morning was very nice to get a little bit more shut-eye with her helping out.
She's 2.5.
She's 2.5.
That's so sweet. I have a year left for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Counting down.
One question that we thought of and just top of mind is the pandemic has changed life for everyone over the last 7 months. So if y'all don't mind answering, this will just be kind of popcorn. I mean, how has it changed your business? How has it changed juggling working from home plus homeschooling? And really, how do you balance being a working mom? And one last question we can tackle on that, but is just any high-level tools or resources that you've used. I know that just as we've thought about this panel, and as I mentioned, like that's a conversation that I've had with so many moms on like, are you really juggling? Probably not. Like it's not really juggle, but we're all doing it.
Yeah.
So we'd love to hear. So just anyone can go.
You're doing it. I don't mind starting.
Great.
I just believe in full transparency, and that's one thing I appreciate about this pandemic is because people are being more transparent and honest and raw. And it's okay that, you know, your business isn't meeting those metrics. Chat Taste specifically, we went about 2.5 months, forget profits, no revenue at all. And it was scary. You know, what do you do when your business isn't producing? You have to be still. And what I appreciate is how forthcoming, you know, other moms were, other small businesses were in Chattanooga. So that's why I'm so appreciative of being a small business owner here, because people are going to come to you and offer so many resources that you didn't even know were available. And that's what Chat Taste went through. Our peak, we launched last September, you know, and immediately went into a pandemic. And for a small business, the first year is rough by itself. Yeah. You throw a pandemic in there, you're almost guaranteed to fail. And I think the community showed up for us. You know, we couldn't do tours, it wasn't safe, and we were fine with that. We weren't willing to risk anyone's safety before the parameters were set in place, the CDC and Tennessee Pledge guidelines. But I'm glad we waited. I'm glad we were patient, and I'm glad like the community showed up for us, because now we're thriving during this pandemic.
I think a bit of that too is being okay with asking for help.
Absolutely.
And I think that this pandemic has allowed us, I think maybe grace has been a common theme, right? So there's some of that grace, but then asking for help, and then just, leaning on, you know, that village. We always talk about, you know, you don't raise a child alone, you raise with a village. But then at the end of the day, it's like, well, how much of that village really helped you this past week? Like, you did everything, or like your husband did everything. I mean, and so I think with the pandemic, it was definitely like all hands on deck in the safest way possible. And, you know, my parents are older, so I was worried about having them watch Zoe at the beginning of all of this. So that was kind of thrown out the window. And then her daycare, we stopped that. And so it was just full time, just her and I, you know, and it was, I think everyone else was dealing with the same thing. And so it was just kind of like, it became a strange new normal, in a way though that lowered expectations. I think that maybe we all had on one another, on each other. I'm sorry. Like, I have high expectations for myself. And I was able to take those down a notch, and then kind of extend grace to some of my staff, but then also friends. I mean, we were all just kind of navigating this together. I will say that I've noticed it's been a little bit more tough since school started. I don't know if you guys noticed that, where it does definitely feel like, oh no, you need to have it all together. Like, the corona is over. How, you know, why don't you have this all figured out? And I have noticed that there's been a bit of an imbalance there. But I get it. It's also trying to navigate how to send your kids back to school and deal with working from home. And so we're all balancing so much. But I agree with Bree. I think that, you know, asking for help and receiving help and being in Chattanooga at this time was really helpful. But I mean, it's not easy. And the question of like how you're doing it, I mean, I don't know if I'm doing it. I think we're kind of learning as we go, right?
You're doing it, girl.
Yeah. Trying. That's all you can do.
Well, I can say for me, the March was scary for business, because we're we had 2 years, June 26th, which is my brother's birthday, which is crazy. But the first month, like when they started like the shelter in place, we cleaned. So like almost immediately all of our residential clients were like paused. And then even our commercial clients, because we were sheltering in place, they weren't using their commercial spaces. There was no reason to get them clean. And so I immediately just became nervous. Like, what am I going to do? I got employees that rely on me. I got 25 plus employees. They have to work. They have to take care of their families. Like, what are we going to do? And then the tornado happened. And it's crazy that I was sitting there worried and stressed about this pandemic and what are we going to do? And then this tornado happened, and then the phone started ringing so crazy because property management started calling. They had to get all these places clean for these people that are displaced to be moved in, and we haven't slowed down since then. Like, it's been nonstop. So even though a lot of companies were working from home, they still wanted to be sanitized and disinfecting for the couple of people that just have to be in the office.
Right.
And so then we went from like an office space that we might have cleaned once or twice a week. Now they want us to come every day. So we have been prospering in a pandemic. That's my hashtag, because we have not slowed down. I have an ad out on Indeed. I have an ad out on Facebook. It's kind of hard to find people right now, but we've been tremendously busy. I was doing it. I think I put it on Instagram a couple months ago. I just did an analysis of where our sales were in August of last year compared to this year, and they're saying most small businesses you'll see a 5% to 10% increase, and we had a 35% increase just over last year already.
Yeah, I know. 2 years old. That's incredible.
Because I was nervous, but it's been insane. It has, and as far as like when March happened, and my son, he's my miracle baby. I'm big on he's not going outside. He's not going anywhere. It was hard because I have to work, and he's in all my Zooms asking for Z-Bucks and can he play Roblox? I'm like, shh, quiet. I've been trying to get him on his Zoom calls. He loved his kindergarten teacher. He loved face-to-face, but he hated the Zooms because, and what he mostly hated was the lag in the communication, because he would say something to her and she couldn't hear him. He's like, why can't she hear me? So I have a picture of him with this laptop, and he's sitting there like, because he didn't like it. I think I was talking to you about it. I was like, I know I have something that I have to do, but I can't continue to focus on working and a business and trying to teach him, what 2 times 4 is. And so that's what me and a group of friends came together, and we found a retired teacher. We're like, you want some extra money? Can you do this? Facilitate the classes. And he loves it because now he's back around kids. He's not around me every day. And I'm not around him all day because I need a little break too. But he's back to being, even though it's a small amount, he has kids that he can interact with. Because Kalis is a very shy child. Well, he was before kindergarten. And I was really worried about him losing those social skills with us being in the house for so long. And like, we don't go to birthday parties. We stay in the house. And for him to be 6, he's happy with being in the house. He's like, no, I just want to relax. I'm like, who is this 52-year-old man that I'm dealing with? I just want to relax. And as far as like how, we eat. Everybody's clean and living. And I think before that, it used to bother me because I'm like kind of OCD about things.
Yeah.
Like, and now I'm just happy that we're alive. Like, because if you put it in context to what everything is, and for somebody like me that's like really a perfectionist in some areas about stuff, like when things fall through the loop, it bothers me. And then I just had to like have a come to Jesus meeting around June and July with just the, us not being able to go on vacation. So we're all stuck in this house together, and we're like seeing each other more than we want to see each other. And I just found like, you know what? We're living, we're eating, we're thriving. Nobody's hurt. We haven't caught corona. That's all you can ask for right now. You can just be grateful, count your blessings, and just be happy. And those, if the laundry stay in the laundry room, it's clean.
It's clean.
Listen, the fact that I remember to take it out the washer before 2 or 3 days before it went spoiled, I'm winning. I'm winning.
Who does fold their laundry and put them up? I mean,
my
if you do.
husband.
Well,
He's military, prior military, and so he wash, dry, fold. I don't know how that happens. It's never happened in my life. I can't do it, but he does.
Wow.
And so,
it's amazing.
Mine will stay in the laundry until it's time to wash again, and I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that.
Justin Wilson, if you're watching this. Justin Wilson, we need to talk.
Right. Let's be specific. He folds his and Calix's. He doesn't touch mine. Okay. I'm so cool with that because I feel like Calix has 100 pieces of clothes to go nowhere.
Yeah.
But just like you said with yours, he came out the other day, hoodie, basketball shorts, Nike slides, and was like, let's go.
Where are you going?
Like, it's 53 degrees outside, sir. Put some socks on.
Are your bottoms not cold? What about you, Gisela?
So it's been a struggle. I mean, it definitely, I'm glad we kind of made it through most of it, still going. But I think when everything just started back in March, I was not expecting what actually was going to happen afterwards, right? And I don't think anybody was. I remember one Friday through Blue Cross, they were like, well, you guys are not coming more to the office. Make sure you come get your computer, your stuff. You're going to start working from home. So nobody really had answers on how long this is going to go for. My husband is the one that is more involved into the businesses that we own since I work full-time as well. But then, of course, my kids' schools, their daycares were, they canceled them. So I went into panic mode. I'm like, well, what are we going to do? Because, yes, a lot of what I do throughout my day is being on conference calls or WebEx and Zoom videos. So, like, how am I going to handle that with a 1.5-year-old and a 4.5-year-old? And then my husband, of course, it wasn't easy all around. Then through the businesses, through the local, I mean, we had to let go a lot of our employees because or cut down hours. And then, of course, my husband had to be, involved there every single day because luckily we didn't have to close down. But, he had to put more and more work and be present and do a lot more stuff to make sure things kept moving. So that meant me being at home with the kids. And then after our conversation, my husband was like, well, why don't you go drive down to Florida with the kids, like stay with my parents. So I stay with my in-laws. And I thought, okay, well, that sounds like a good idea. They work from home, they can help us, and it's going to be good for the kids. They miss them so much. So I pack our stuff thinking, well, this is probably going to be, 1-2 weeks most, right? I don't know what really happened through my mind. I don't think I was really thinking it straight. So we packed some stuff and, we hopped in a car and drove for 8 hours. Really turned into like almost 12 hours,
right.
Having frequent stops.
Yeah.
So we made it there and, 3 months later, we're still there. So that was really rough. We had to stay, my husband stayed here in Chattanooga and we were there. I was there with the kids and it was rough. And even I had the help, they still needed me, they still wanted. And like, funny stories, I was still like in WebExes and then suddenly my like 1.5-year-old would just run and jump into the call and be like, Mommy, and pulling my shirt because she wanted to feed. And I was like, okay, that is not appropriate right now. But trying just to make it work. And my other kid is like, Mommy, can I watch this? Mommy, can I do this? And I'm just like, well, it is what it is. And you say, I wasn't the only person kind of going through that. We were all going through it. So I think it was great to really learn a little more. It gave us time to spend time together. I think it straightened my relationship with my husband as well, having to be apart and kind of each of us carried our own weight. He stayed here. Right. It was hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we're finally together and it's in great sense. But it's still rough, even though my girls are back into daycare now. But every day it's unknown because you don't know when, tomorrow they'll go ahead and have to close it down again and we'll go back to that. But I think we're stronger as a family, as I'm sure all of you guys are too. So we learn a lot from each other and, it's all we can hope for. So yeah, my laundry takes a week. I start one Monday and Sunday night next week. Like I'm still like doing it, but hey,
I wish I could say a week.
We do our best.
That's always been the bane of my existence. Is laundry. I can wash dry, but the folding and hanging up, it just doesn't. So COVID has made it better because I don't have to wear business clothes. And so it's just t-shirts and sweats and tights. So, but it's still a lot of t-shirts, sweats, and tights.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting we've all touched on a little bit of that relaxing in the standards that we held ourselves to. I know for me, it was like, I had never really been at home and like, I was never a stay-at-home mom. I mean, my son went to daycare when he was about 5.5 months old. So those first couple days I was like, okay, we FaceTime with grandma. We've tried to make muffins. It's, we went outside and it's 9:30. Like, not really sure what I'm supposed to do here. But then I also, in the same time, my boss might have called in the midst of that. And I was on a walk outside and he was like, what about that? And I'm like, okay, yeah. And so I think that standard of having to realize like, okay, I probably got to get up at 6 to work on my emails before he wakes me up singing and yelling, Mama. And then I also just need to give grace that like, yeah, maybe I'm wearing sweatpants on the bottom for my, Zoom top up top, and I'm just going with it. So I think that giving us grace has been one thing that I have like really leaned into in a way that I didn't know I was a perfectionist in certain areas. So.
But it's a bit, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I feel like the grace thing though is really beneficial when you have moms supporting you in that space.
Yes.
Because you can say, yeah, I've extended grace. You can say it and then not do it. Right. But when your friends are calling, checking on you, when you're talking to them and they're like, hold on, I can't because my baby's pulling me and then I've got to call. And then it's just like there's so much support by way of mothers. And you don't even realize it until you take a step back and realize that, wow, a bunch of my friends or even coworkers or employees have been so supportive in this time. And so that like extending grace also then turns into a lot of gratitude. And I heard a little bit of that, like even out of your story, like you're so thankful that you're back with your husband, that your family's stronger, and I think that's also really special. And it's maybe I think that's a woman thing. I think that's us supporting one another, and that's really special, especially during this time.
I'm motivated right now listening to everyone's story. Like this made my day, and it's going to be a trickle down effect. You know, I think of myself in like kind of 3 micro environments. You know, if the way I take care of myself reflects how I represent my family. And if my family is well, the customer is happier because I'm a better businesswoman. Mm-hmm. And, you know, this in itself is going to be prosperous for the company because, God, these are 3 humans that I admire. These are 3 women that I admire. And you guys are killing it. Like, I am honored to be on this stage with you guys right now. Like, I'm about to cry.
No, that's a woman thing too. Don't do it. I think I've cried more through COVID than I have in life. Like when it first started, because you have a 6-year-old, and so essentially, my son's birthday is on my father's birthday. So we went down to Montgomery. They always spend their birthdays together. So we shot down to Montgomery, and when we came back, everything was closed down. Mm-hmm. And we went from having a great birthday weekend, so you can't go to school Monday. Mm-hmm. And, oh, by the way, same as you guys, they were like, hey, come get your laptops and your batteries and whatever else you want off your workstations. And I'm like, oh, it'll be a week or 2. I never thought that we would still be working from home this long. And I'm like, you got a little person that now just his kindergarten year says this big. He missed it. He missed his little graduation. And so luckily they did something, and they did like a drive-through graduation. So because I'm the overtop mom, I got these huge banners. I'm like, quarantine year, the kid. Really? Oh, we had to do it big for him. And like, so I got these banners on the side of our car, and he's got this little cap and gown and t-shirt that says I made it through. But like his emotional, all of our emotions. And then I'm in the house with these people longer than I'm normally in the house with these people. And they just started you start seeing their personalities more, and you're like, oh, I just wish I could go outside for a minute. I need a moment away just from all of it. Because it probably wasn't recommended, but for me to be able to function at work, and I think I told you this, I started letting him sleep in as late as his older brothers and sisters were. So like he would wake up about 2, so all my work was done, and then we would work on work. But that means he stayed up all night, and that was my sacrifice, because before that, when I was up, I couldn't get anything done. I want some grits, can I have some Fruit Loops, can you make some muffins, want some pancakes? It was just hard. So for a long time, I was letting him be on 3rd shift. You can be up all night. That way you sleep in, so I can at least get like 5 hours of solid work done.
That's the trick.
And I can, because he's, like you said, your child, mine's 6, so he knows how to go in and grab a Lunchable and some juice. And I mean, it was plenty of nights when he went to co-sleep that I would wake up and he's just chomping on a Lunchable and some Doritos. He's got his word on the side of the bed. I'm like, you good? All right, I'm going back to sleep. And that's just how we did it for a long time. So,
yeah, it's real. So I'm going to change gears a little bit with Brianna. And Chat Taste being a social thing, bringing people together around a table to eat. How do you see the new way of gathering impacting that? And how do you have to pivot to thrive now that your business opened up again? You got people booking tours. How does that look for you now?
Completely different. Well, it doesn't look the way I envisioned the company to look. It's actually similar in a lot of ways. One thing that Chat Taste always wanted to exemplify is because having that small group, establishing that rapport with your guy, getting to know the chef. And you couldn't do that in large groups prior to COVID. So having small group tours and building on that dynamic was, right in line with who we were as a company to begin with. Yeah. But we learned so much. I don't consider myself a very tech savvy person, but I'm so proud that we were able to pivot in a way to start offering virtual experiences. And it all boiled down to listening to the customer. I can't tell you how many times I had a request for an experience via email, and I said, "Oh my gosh, that is such a good idea. We do that. Yeah, right now, absolutely, we do that today, starting now." And just being open. That things can't look a certain way, and I think being pliable and being willing to, move around and take suggestions. This is not the Chat Taste from September 2019. September of 2021, it'll look different. And I'm okay with that. The growing pains are there, but it's been a beautiful experience. I pride myself on being this service-oriented business, and now we're wholesalers. You know, we've extended Chat Taste and expanded our offering to, we're launching next month a Taste of Chattanooga box. So you get to experience, you know, consumer goods made in Chattanooga, as well as going into restaurants. Restaurants that we attend are all honoring the Tennessee Pledge. We do all patio seating, but we want to honor that guest, that person that wants to support local businesses, but is not comfortable coming out of the house just yet. And those came from suggestions from others. You know, well, why don't you do this? Absolutely, if it makes sense and it's brand loyal. I think authenticity is like blood in the water. You know, I'm proud to say that we didn't pivot fast. Our pivot took about 3 months, but I'm proud of it. It's something that I can say makes sense for what Chat Taste is, what the brand means to us. And I think it's reflected well, and the sales it's doing better.
That's awesome. I love how you said you're true to yourself and staying true to, but you're pivoting, you're changing the way you do things, but it's not taken away from why you built Chat Taste. And I love that.
Oh, for sure.
Like, stay open to suggestions, but it's like, I'm still going to stay true to who I am.
That's so important. You have to stay grounded.
Yes, I love that.
Well, so Gisela, you're in a unique position with 2 young daughters, as you mentioned, working full-time, also mentioned, and then having 2 full-time businesses with your husband. How do you see this time of life impacting women's careers, and how have you juggled childcare? I mean, you kind of mentioned that earlier, being with your in-laws.
So I think it's definitely changed us all.
Right.
It's not how I guess we were used to handling things. And just to your point, you know, it's like I always have my kids in childcare, and you know, it's what worked for us. You know,
Right.
there's no shame on that. You know,
Right.
it's really you got to do what works for your family.
Right.
No family is the same. And that worked for us great. And then when we started facing these problems with no childcare and didn't work, and I mean, it made it really hard. And I'm sure a lot of women were in the same boat. And it's like, well, how do you handle it? Because yes, you are the mom. You're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be able to juggle everything. You're supposed to be great at work, but then you're also expected to be a great mom, and you're expected to, and maybe you are also expecting yourself to be this greater being, and you can't be everything at once, right? You also got to give yourself a break, and that's hard to understand. It was hard for me to understand. I think it still is, which is why I appreciate so much my husband. Started this doing like a 5-minute session every day. He will pop around lunchtime at home, and then he'd be like, okay, you ready for a 5-minute session? And we'll just kind of like sit on the couch together and be like, how are you feeling today? We'll kind of be like therapist sort of thing. It's like, how are you handling things? How are you feeling about things? And that's really helped me. And I know it's both ways too, because you know we do it to him too. So, but that's, I think, helped me also understand it's not all perfect. And I think you all need to understand that too. Is do the best you can to the best of your ability, and that should be good. You should be happy with that. And if there's something you want to change, we'll make it better for the next day. But just keep improving gradually. You know, don't expect it all to be just one day and then suddenly you're superwoman, because unfortunately reality is not like that. You know, there are days that I just want to lock myself in the closet and just stay there. Maybe like binge watch something on Netflix. But you know, it's like I know it's like that time is gonna eventually come, maybe even 15 minutes, you know, when my kids go to bed, and just have some me time. But just gotta find something that will make you also happy, because if you're a happier person, a happier mom, then a happier wife, and a happier business owner, and you know, it just kind of all just goes from there. So I just feel like we just all gotta keep doing. We're all doing a great job, by the way. You know, just keep at it and take a day at a time.
That was great.
Yeah, thank you. So, is it my turn?
Yes. Teal, running a local nonprofit and just being a mom with a toddler, could you share your thoughts on how the pandemic impacted your work from home policy with Glass House Collective, and both in your opinion on an employer as well as being a mom and working from home yourself? How do you see the policy changes in the future for working at home?
Yeah, so, I think I'm in a different boat than some of you guys that are working corporate, right? We're a grassroots nonprofit. We're scrappy, and we pivot a lot. That word, by the way, over it. But we change it up a lot based on community needs. And so, like, really quickly early on, we were doing engagement in the school. The school closed down, and we decided, after talking similar to you, Bri, about the customer, our customer was the art teacher in the community, right? And so that's a big customer base. But we realized that we need to make sure that these kids had art supplies at home. And so our quick, very fast change was, we're going to launch a campaign to make sure that every single kid at Hardy Elementary goes home with art supplies so that they can continue to do art. Because we didn't know, to your point, how long, is this a week, 3 weeks? Until the end of the school year. And so while that was unfolding, it was like, oh, well, we're going to assemble these packets together. No, like, we can't. And it was so hard for me to internalize what was actually happening. And I don't know if you guys do Enneagrams, but I'm a big fan of them. And I'm a full 7, wing 8. And so the 7 in me is like all over the place, like so fun, ready to take on the next challenge. But then realizing like, oh, like I need to sit a second and get in my feelings to understand that this is happening and unfolding around me. It's unfolding around my staff. Some staff members are having a really difficult time, rightfully so. And some were also aligned with me, like, what, are we going to get drinks tomorrow? Like, we're like, we can't like really actually catch on to this. And so I feel like it wasn't an intended front end policy. We didn't say, okay, does everyone have a laptop? Here's the situation. It just unfolded that way. And I think though now seeing, it's interesting hearing you guys say, everybody said, come over and pick up all your stuff. There's something positive in my mind about how quickly we all had to acclimate to this new. I'm not even gonna call it normal. Yeah, it's new. And I think that like the quick swiftness of not overthinking, of not like over anything, analyzing, it was just like from 1 minute to the next, we were doing this. I remember an employee was like, how do I download Zoom? Talking through the downloading of Zoom, like what even is a Zoom? And then the Zoom etiquette, right? Of like muting and not muting and like, so there's so much, to unpack there. I think from a policy standpoint, I just want to make sure that my staff, they're comfortable. And I think a big part of that policy is communication and setting aside time to unpack like emotional conversations that we all have to have about how we're doing. And if we glance over that and we just get into the nitty gritty of the task, those tasks are not done well. And you have to reverse everything that you just did because you didn't do it with intention and with passion. You're just churning stuff out. And I think that that's the case with being parents too, right? It's like, we can go through ABCs, we can go through all these things that we're supposed to do, but yeah, sure, they're checked off. And I don't know how much Zoe actually took in, but if we do them together and enjoy them and go on a walk and pick up. So I think from like a policy standpoint, I don't know if I'm the best to speak to that because I think we're just flying by the seats for pants. It's one of those, like, we're making it up, we're learning as we're going, in both both professional and personal. But I think the key there is communication and trust. Like, I trust my employees if they, I think a lot of people are like, oh, working from home. Yeah, I know what you're doing. You have a kid. And it's like, yeah, I am. I'm taking a break and I'm going to walk with Zoe, but I'm going to take that phone call too while I'm walking. And actually, I'm going to be more productive from 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. And then I'm going to schedule this email to go out at 8 a.m. So you think that I've got it all together because it's going out first thing in the morning. But I figured this out. And so I think it's trust, it's grace, and I think at the core of that kind of policy question is like communication and whatever works with you and your team. I wasn't necessarily forced in this space. We did it because it was what our staff wanted. And we're not back in the office, and a lot of our like fellow nonprofits are, and we're not in there because I'm not rushing. To Bri's point earlier, if this is working, it's working right now. And so, figuring out that balance, I think, is a constant juggle. But
right. And how are the rest of y'all? Are y'all liking working from home, or what has it been?
I absolutely love it. Okay. So I am a introvert. Like, I love being social. I love people, but then I also don't like people. Which, if it's
crazy.
No,
So
it's not
like,
crazy.
I found that in like corporate, I don't like the coffee talk. So in the mornings, I'm probably not the best person.
Yeah.
And all that short talk, I'm like, I'm just here to get my work done. I'm just here. But in social settings, I'm like a butterfly, like, hi. And so it's kind of crazy. So I love it. I drop them off. I have my drink, and I get more done. I think that I find that like when you're in a working setting, because you have that coworker that want to chat all the time, and they don't realize that they're telling you about your day. So now I'm not working because I'm listening to you, but I'm not really listening to you. I'm nodding my head. So I've lost 15 minutes versus I have nobody to talk to at home, and I get so much done more at home. So in some ways, like our company has found some people to be very productive at home, and then they found those people that's laying down, not doing anything. I'm okay to never go back into an office ever again. Like sometimes I miss the interactions, but that's rare.
Yeah. So Gisela, what do you think? How's it been working from home for you?
So I think I really enjoy it. I am now a full-time telecommuter. They ask a lot of people in my department if you wanted to be a full-time telecommuter, and I think by the time they did that, I kind of had already nailed down how to, do this from home.
Yeah.
And I started enjoying it really good, especially now that my kids are back in school, like the whole dynamic changed. So I think that really helped me understand, okay, well, yes, this is something I want. Because before then, I was associating it with chaos and my kids and doing all this at once. But once they were back in school and I had my office set up, and I really like it. To your point, it's like I get a lot more done. And sometimes, like, yes, I have to go pick up my kids and stuff, but then I make sure, well, there's some things that I can just, once they go to bed, then I go back on the computer and I'm like doing some of the stuff that I need and kind of prep for the next day. And I have my routine and it's working out great and I enjoy it. And yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I'll let you answer too. I know you kind of have your.
I am the opposite. Gosh, I thrive like being in an environment and feeding off of others' energy. For anyone that knows anything about me, my second home is the coffee shop. And I love being around people, also working. So it's been rough for me. Now, I still have a few coffee shops that I'll go to that are on the patio. But I need that interaction for my productivity. Like, it's not working for me.
Yeah.
I see dust in the corner and I'm distracted by it all day long.
I get that too.
Yeah.
Well, so Sharon, as a full-time business owner, full-time employee, and a mom of 3, what have you found that encourages you every day? And how do you juggle your time management?
Okay, so my biggest encouragement are my kids, right? Especially not to take away from the older ones, but because they're working and they don't have time for me and whatever. But the youngest one is like the biggest encourager because like probably around 3 or 4, he has a shirt that says boss or CEO. And so like when we first started the business, he had to be with me when I dropped off supply, in the growing stages. So like now he's used to Thursdays is payroll day and do we have to go drop off checks and let's go talk to the employees. So he's like the biggest encourager ever. And he's always, I don't know where his heart comes. Well, it comes from me, of course, and maybe a little his dad. But he's just the most, he's like, Mommy, you can do it. You're the best. And then like I got him his iPad so he can stay off mine. And so he sends like little text messages and I can show y'all our text chain. He's like, you're the best mommy ever. And I just love you so much. And that is just so encouraging.
Can he send out some daily texts?
And he see my number?
Yeah.
Where's his heart? Like, where do you, like, yeah. And so, like, even on the roughest day, he was like, it's okay, Mommy. Tomorrow's going to be better. It's going to be fine. You're going to do great. And I'm like, you could have the V-Bucks. Get the $20 package. It's fine. So, my kids are the biggest encouragers because I feel like they're seeing me. So, okay, I graduated another bachelor's a couple of years ago, and I was supposed to stop then. But then I had told myself that I was going to have that one done before my kid got to kindergarten. So that was the biggest encourager because he was around that curve. And in this one, I had said, well, before he gets out of first grade, and this is the last one. So they motivate me. They encourage me. And my husband, he's so even keeled, but he's like, girl, we got to do this. You can't start something, you can't finish it. You need to know. That's his kind of talk. But it's always encouraging. It's always like, you can do this. You can't stop. Working full time and starting a business, there were plenty of days I was just like, I quit. I don't know what I was thinking. Having kids, because like
it's hard. There's like I'm trying to like be a full-time wife, a full-time employee, a full-time owner, a full-time and present mom. I'm trying to drink my water, get 30 minutes of exercise in, wash my face every day. You know, time with God. It's just like, where's the time? So okay. So one of the things that we kind of incorporated, and especially my husband's always cooked, but it's always kind of fell on me. So with this, I'm like, I need help. So there's days that he cooks, and then like for me, it's better for me to cook at night for the next day. So that helps me because when they come in at 2 or 3 o'clock or whatever time they come in, they're ready to eat. So you can't just start dinner then. So I always cook the night before. So that helps my schedule out. After I get Calix to bed is when I do a lot of my stuff. Like it's QuickBooks, you know, checking my accounting, you know, books and stuff like that. Or clocking back into work. Like last night when he was on his game, I was clocked in, working and stuff like that. I used to be real rigid on schedules. Like this has to be done by this and COVID has relaxed that. I'm not as heart attack mode like I used to be about stuff. So as long as they're fed, they have clothes and stuff like that. That's the grace I've given myself. It is hard. I'm not going to lie. All these people that make you feel like the balancing is so easy and they can do, they're lying. I live this every day. There's sometimes that, you know, my kid does not get in bed on time because I've got caught up in billing. Or I missed billing a client for a whole month. And of course I need the money, but I forgot because I'm trying to do Zoom calls. And so I am doing the best I can right now. I cannot say I'm an expert on it. I think we're doing pretty good. Nobody's died. Nobody's been to the hospital or anything like that. But so we just kind of have schedules. And now that my older two are working, you know, we used to have like, if you don't work, it's your day to wash dishes. Now both of them are working. So like, oh, now it's dishes back on me again. Jesus. And then so here comes the 6-year-old. I can help with dishes, Mommy. I'm like, oh. So we just kind of like, my husband works third. And so it might be that he comes pick up the child from in the afternoon. I drop off in the morning, you do pickups. And that helps because that's like a whole hour I'm not caught in traffic that I can do something else. But I also try to I know that they're watching me. So it's important that, you know, I don't fall to pieces a lot because they're watching. And even though that 19-year-old totally acts like he's not watching, he watches, he pays attention. And he's doing this new thing that I have no clue what it is. It's like Forex. But he's so engaged in it because he watches how me and his dad work on stuff and his mother, not taken away from her, but he just sees us all working and what we do. So he has all his attention to that in school because he's still going to UTK at home, but he's still focused. So I don't have a perfect schedule. I don't. I do things that help me. Like Saturdays and Sundays, I go ahead and shop. When we do grocery shop, I shop for the month because I don't have time to go through the week, except for bread and milk. Those are the things. Yeah. And then I got Instacart. Deliver them to my door, leave them on the door. That was a blessing. Listen, you need to get here. I'm going to send you mine so you get the $10 off coupon. Instacart saved my life. You just go in, pick what you want, then you hear the doorbell ring in 2 hours, then you got everything you need. And before, or Prime. Oh gosh, 2 hours. And before that, I used to feel like I had to do everything myself. I think it's embedded in women that we have to touch everything, we have to do everything. And I just had to say no. I don't. Somebody else can go shopping. I'd rather spend the time watching, Ryan review with my son than spend 2 hours in a grocery store getting something. And that's just it. That's all. I don't have the perfect, recipe, analogy, anything. We're just doing what we can. So we cook the night before. I lay out clothes the night before. I do have his lunches planned for the week. Well, his lunches are easy because all he wants is Lunchables, Doritos, yogurt, and Welch's fruit snacks because Mott's are trash. His words.
All those gummies.
Mott's are trash. Yeah, so that's it. He eats the same. He's been eating the same thing for the last 3 years. That's all. That's all I have.
No, it's great. Do you want to ask that last question?
Yes. So you guys pretty much gave a lot of advice during this whole conversation that I took in and I really appreciate. And now I'm motivated to go outside right now and do something. But if you could share one more piece of advice to the working moms watching today, what would you say to them? And it could be whoever wants to start.
I don't mind starting. And it's advice that I had to take for myself is to learn what self-care looks like for me. Yes. And to give myself credit for the things I got done and not be down on myself for these ever-growing to-do lists. I have to-done lists, and I give myself a break. I pat myself on the back. But my advice will be find what your self-care is. What works for every woman on the stage is going to be different, and that's okay. but find what works for you, and you're killing it. You're doing it, Mom. Like, just give yourself a little bit more credit.
Yes, you're killing it.
I guess what I can say is don't be afraid to ask for help and delegate.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong for you. You know, it's like if people ask, like they say, hey, they offer their help, say yes. You know, even if you feel like you can do it, it's one more thing that is one less thing that's going to be on your plate, right? So, like in my case, like my husband, we're taking turns picking the girls up, dropping them off, you know, cooking and all those sort of things that, yes, I feel like, no, that's something I can do. I should be doing it. But no, hey, take a step back. You know, he can do it too, you know, and he's offering, so why not? You know, it's like if you have family that live close by and they want to help out, even if it's like an hour of daycare, you know, watching your kid, that's 1 hour you can take a long shower and enjoy it for yourself. So, yeah, just do that. And yes, like to your point, you're doing a great job. Just keep doing it and you're not alone. And yes, whoever tells you it's okay and they're not struggling, they're lying because everyone is struggling. So, yeah.
Okay, I will piggyback off her on 2 things. One, don't trust people for social media and their Instagram because they're lying. Like, don't do that. You're not killing it. I know because I've cleaned some of y'all houses, so I know you have help. Another thing I've learned is that it's okay to have help. I am going to hire. I've decided this year I'm hiring my own company to clean my house. I don't have time to do baseboards, and I don't want to do them. And it's okay. I got the money to pay for it, not doing. That's 1. 2. I am very control freakish with my baby. My business is my baby. And I've learned this year to trust my team leads. They know what to do. They know what I expect. So I'm not always on my phone. Like my phone dropped like when we first started saying. And at first my anxiety was like, what if something's wrong? They know what to do. And trusting them and being able to walk away from that has been so beneficial for me because I'm not always worried. And then like you said, like just you can do it, girl. Like don't let there's 100 reasons you can tell yourself why you can't do it. There's 100 reasons why you feel like you're gonna fail. But I'm a living testimony. 2.5 years ago, this business happened accidentally. It's not something I was passionate about. It's not something I walked into a meeting and I walked out with a business. So you can do. I just keep it and get you some good mentors. Like and surround yourself around women that don't mind sharing and pouring into you. Because I have some great ones. And like, you know, I have someone like when I have bad days and one of my biggest ones is Stephanie Sinkfield that owns Sinkfield. She's like my big sister. And I'm like, I think I'm gonna quit today. She's like, we ain't gonna quit. You wanna go get some coffee? Let's have a drink and we'll talk about it. You'll be okay tomorrow, okay? Get you a group of women that are encouraging and they're in the same field. And so you guys have something in common. And so they know what it feels like when the client has walked away or you got a new client, you don't know what to do. So that's my advice. But more so than that, you can do it. Keep them fed. Nobody dies. You're okay. It's a win day. It's a win.
I ditto all of your advice. And I'll add 2 more. Healthy boundaries. Yeah. And the boundaries, realizing that you may think they're selfish, but they're not. They're caring for yourself and your needs and realizing that, identifying it. And then, and healthy boundaries too, not just with yourself, with your in-laws, like in regards to your comment about asking for help, like also that comes with boundaries, like how much help and what kind of help and is it for you or for them? And I think just kind of boundary setting. And then the other is, we were talking about this earlier, like stop apologizing so much. You know, we hear a lot about mansplaining in the world that we live in now. And I don't want it to get to a women's splaining scenario where we're always like, I'm so sorry I have to pick my child up, or I'm so sorry I don't want to miss this basketball game, or I'm running late because I dropped my kid off. No, you know, show up and be confident. And we all are juggling everything and we don't need to be apologizing for those things. We need to be confident in that and, you know, be thankful that we're in these positions and just, yeah, continue to rock it and do well with it. Apologizing is the last thing that we need to be doing. Like you said, we're healthy, we're showing up, our kids are still alive. The laundry maybe not done, but hey, we're doing it. So those would be kind of my 2 additions to everyone else, like they said.
That was a great, especially the boundaries.
Yeah, I'm learning that in therapy right now. We don't have to put that there, but I'm still learning the boundary thing. Like it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard, especially when you haven't done it before.
But it's so fulfilling.
It is because especially when you have a new business and you have clients, and so like my thing is my office hours are Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, and then you get somebody calling on Saturdays or calling after hours. And when you're growing, you want to answer, you want to. And then I've had to learn that I will always be on if I never take that time to give back to myself. So now if you call without the hours, the voicemail tells you somebody will contact you back on Mondays. And you have to find that time, even if it's going to the bathroom without your child on your leg, by yourself. I can open the door like it's nothing. We're like, come on now. Excuse me, give me a second. But we need that time so that we can continue to show up and show out. Because if you don't have anything in you, you can't pour into anybody else.
That's right. Well, on that note, I just want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. This has been fantastic, and I have been so encouraged. I know Leah and I have been thrilled with the opportunity to join all of you guys, and it's an honor to work alongside you. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. That was great.
Yay!
Thank you guys so much for joining us. As y'all know, working moms, we had to be able to fit all of us in at the same time, and it was quite the juggle. But we do have Gisela and Sharon, along with Leah and I, on here. So if anyone has any questions or any comments, we are here just to have a couple minutes of conversation live and in person. Try to juggle if anyone has anything.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, ladies.
Hi, Louise.
I'm crying over here. I feel like a bad husband. How can I get more power? I gotta be a woman. That's impossible. So my question would be, what would you say to a younger version of yourselves, right? Like maybe some younger girls that are watching, they don't know what you guys know now, that they're thinking of either opening their own business or having children, and they're just scared and maybe not the right timing. What would you say to these women?
That's a great question. I'm gonna let either Sharon, Leah, or Gisela, if y'all want to jump in.
Okay, so I guess I can. I will, so I guess younger version of myself, I will tell her, you got this. You're doing a great job. Just keep going at it. Because when you're younger, yes, you do have a lot of, I guess, insecurities and a lot of questions about the future that you just don't know. But hey, nobody else knows that, right? So just do your best and be happy with that. And then you're going to get really far. And then for all those young women out there, if you're looking into starting a business and you're unsure, hey, do it. It's just rip it like a Band-Aid, like Madison said. Just do it, because it's never going to feel like the right timing. Same for kids. If you feel like you're ready to have kids, but you're just guessing yourself. I mean, like everything in life, you're never really ready until you're doing it, and then you have to step up your game and then get it done and do it right. So I think that's usually, if you keep waiting and waiting, life is just going to pass you by. So just do what you got to do today. Don't leave it for tomorrow.
Yeah, I definitely want to piggyback off that, because I am myself starting a business, and I had my child unexpectedly, but she has been the best gift I've ever had, and she's actually been the push for me. And I don't do everything perfect every day, and I'm still learning, and it's just important to have a community around you, like my family, friends, you ladies. It's so important for me to have that community, because without that, it's like I would probably be in a hole somewhere crying, like dying. But it's been great to have that support, and that's super important as well. And then if you don't have the support, finding your community, it doesn't have to be family, it can be someone around you, like anybody that's helping you through it.
And Sharon, I don't know if you're still there, if you want to answer Tiffany's question that's in the chat.
Okay, let me check out the question. Oh my God, there's so many resources. I did an event on Monday. I would tell you to go to Chattanooga.gov, and I think it's like backscore or resources, a business. I can drop it in the link for you, and it just tells you just from all the different resources from CO.LAB to lunch to the Tennessee Business Development in Chattanooga for businesses. CO.LAB is amazing. So if you need like a technical provider, I use them. I work with Katie a lot. She's a blessing. I would tell you to, get with them. There's a business program called Lunch that's a 10 weeks that's for businesses. It's like a development class that will walk them through from like the very beginning to the end. So there's just so many resources. I would just say, just get on Chattanooga. I'm sure it's Chattanooga.gov and go to businesses, and it will walk you through everything. And also get on CO.LAB. I highly recommend CO.LAB because they've been amazing to me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks for the shout out, Sharon. So thank you all so much for joining us today. We are just completely grateful. I would say that Leah and I, and all the other moms out there that I've had so many conversations with over the last 7-8 months. This is part of what came out of that, was just wanting to give space to be an encouragement, and to let you know, there are entrepreneurs, there are moms, there are all different types that we're doing so well. We're rocking this. So thank you all for joining us. I'm going to pass this to Leah just to finish us up.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. And for all the attendees, you'll be receiving a digital toolkit. It's providing more information on all our speakers, how you can support their businesses, as well as additional resources with ways that you can be an advocate for women's rights or women in business. And a coupon from a local woman in Chattanooga who just opened up a winery here. So you have a coupon to get you a free bottle of wine. Well, buy 2, get 1 free from Paris Winery, and she just opened up. So again, we thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoy it.
Bye.